Welcome to the Content Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Whitnish. Today, I'm going to share with you a revamped strategy for being an expert guest booked on other people's podcasts, coming off being booked on 9 podcasts myself in the first 2 weeks of January. Historically, I've shared a model that involves using the LinkedIn platform and the search bar to find podcast hosts and put in their industry, put in their location, connect, build a relationship through engaging with their content, getting some rapport back and forth, and then ultimately reaching out to see if you can add value to one of their episodes, which takes time. But fortunately, I've stumbled across a platform or a tool that expedites the process of being able to get on podcasts. The caveat is you have to be attractive enough to be a guest on the show, which makes a good case for having content online so people can check out your vibe, your expertise, what you've got going on. So it'd be pretty hard to get onto a podcast unless you've got some industry-based credibility that other people would know about. But the tool's called Podmatch, and someone mentioned it to me. And like with any tools, there's a little bit of natural skepticism in the beginning, but I thought one of my goals for 2024 was to get on 2 podcasts a month as a guest. I set that in December last year, and I thought if this can help accelerate that goal and I get booked on 2 a month, that'd be a great result. It's a paid software. You become a member through a monthly fee. I don't think it's overly expensive. It might be around the $20 to $30 mark on the basic package. But what it does is you give the platform all your information, how many followers you've got across social media. You have a bio about what you'd like to talk about and how you can add value to other podcasts. So hosts can come and check you out. You give a list of questions that you're happy to answer and talk about on the show to make life easier for the hosts. And you get matches. So every few hours, you'll get given 3 matches based on what you give to Podmatch in terms of your areas of expertise that you want to talk about, your bio and all that data. And then you can go check out that podcast, see if it's a match, and you can add value to their audience. Maybe go have a listen to some of their shows. And you can contact the host directly who are looking for guests through this platform and see if your topic that you want to share is a good fit for their audience. And so far, to my surprise, I've got an extremely high uptake when I've contacted these hosts. And I think part of that is having a solid amount of content already in existence, some previous podcast episode experience, but also being a podcast host myself, there's a little bit of a trail if you go searching online. And with 15,000 odd followers across all the different social media platform, I can share the episodes with my own audience. And there's a little bit of a win-win scenario for both parties. So that's a caveat that I put in place. It's been relatively successful for myself, but I'm imagining that's because I've got a good Google footprint, some solid content, my own podcast, and my pitch or my angle to add value to a show is simply the 30 days in 90 minutes content creation system tailored to whatever the audience is. So it could be digital marketers, entrepreneurs, real estate agents, lawyers, depending on what the theme of the podcast is. And if I know that audience would be a good fit for this particular strategy, that's when I'll contact the host. And generally speaking, the hosts are quite receptive. They'll come and respond to the message. And that's the key, having a short and sharp message. My message is along the lines of, hey, name, how are you? A little comment about their podcast. Might congratulate them on how many episodes they've done. And do you think that 30 days in 90 minutes content creation system for XYZ audience, whatever they specialize in, would be value in 2024? Let me know. I'm also happy to share the episode and what we do with my audience as well. And my message is very short and concise. It's just like that. I'll put it in the show notes or descriptions below so you can see what it is. And just sending that to 3 or more hosts a day has so far landed on 9 podcasts. So if they agree that you're a match for the show, You sometimes sign a waiver, but generally speaking, you get asked to schedule and go to the next steps, and you'll just find a time in the calendar that suits to record the episode, lock it in, and then you have a rolling feed of when your appearances are. So what I would say is, if you have been putting in the groundwork after listening to this show, you might be new to this show and discovering that, but you have been creating content over a period of time, this is where it's going to start to pay dividends, where you can get exposure to new audiences. Most of my shows so far are in other countries with hosts abroad, and some of the shows have hundreds of episodes and over 1,000 5-star reviews, so they've got a very solid listener base. And by going on and being myself, being aligned, being authentic, and just giving value is a really powerful way to organically spread a message to a large audience. And then most hosts usually ask, is there a place that people can connect and find you? And that's where you have an opportunity to, I guess, build your audience or to drive people to wherever you want to drive them. And that's why it's been such a powerful process so far. And the calendar is filled up really quickly with these podcast episodes. So I moved the goal to a weekly appearance, 50 plus for the year. And the rate that it's going will likely be more than that. But I'm just really excited at the opportunity to share the message and to bring value to these audiences across the world that I wouldn't otherwise get exposure with if I was trying to build it by myself over time. So I'll rehash the strategy so you know what to do. The tool is called Podmatch. You have to set up your profile, which does take some time, filling out all the information, really focus on how you can add value to hosts and contribute to their podcast. That's the key. I didn't want to talk too much about myself on there. It was more what value could be brought to their shows, and I think that's pretty crucial. Once that's set up, you'll start getting your matches, and then it's a matter of checking if the podcasts that you've been matched with are a fit for you and it's a show you'd like to speak on by checking it out, and then sending a thoughtful message that shows you've read and understand their audience, and you've got your hook and what you'd like to talk about on the show, short and concise, and sending it through to the host and then seeing what sort of response you get. And as a host as well of a podcast, I know that as I start to bring more and more guests on, this will be a platform that I might look into myself. So if you're also a podcast host and you're looking for more guests and it's hard to find talent, this allows you to get access to all these different guests. I've had a few hosts reach out to me on the platform, which has been exciting, but they've contacted me and asked if I'd like to come on the show versus me reaching out, seeing if I can add value, which has been a pleasant surprise. So if you're looking for talent, you can actually screen all the guests that want to come on your show and pick the ones that you feel will help add the most value to your listeners. So that's Podmatch. And like I said, there'll be a few steps below in the show notes. And if you've been doing some work and you've started building your brand, putting content out, this can be a great way to leverage and to grow that audience and to reach more people, building on the foundations that you've set up online. So if you want the 30 days in 90 minutes content creation system, completely free, go to contentonly.com. You can download it from there. If you're new to the show and you're not subscribing, make sure you're following on the platform that you're listening on. And if on the platform you can leave a 5-star review, that'll help more people discover the show. And thank you.